Hey everyone, we are here again. This is Chem Classroom with Aunt Starway. If you haven't subscribed, kindly do so. So please click on the subscription button and the notification bell so that you can get notified whenever we put up our videos. So today we'll be going to our volumetric analysis. Volumetric analysis, I can say in a simple terms, the titration, whereby you have the acid and the base. You put the acid in the burette, then you put the base in the pipette. So by the time you pipette your base in a beaker, then you put an indicator. We have at the indicator are weak organic, inorganic acids that actually help us to know the end point, because they actually change color in acid solution. So we have a few of them. We have the methyl orange, we have the phenolphthalein, we have methyl red, we have few of them that actually guide us to know that the acid has actually neutralized the base, to show us what we call the end point. Then we have what we call concentration in mole per dm cube. Your concentration in mole per dm cube is what we call the molar concentration, while the concentration in grams per dm cube is what we call the mass concentration. So you can be asked to calculate concentration in mole per dm cube or concentration in grams per dm cube. Then we have some parameters. We'll be using some formula to go about some of the questions that we will be solving. You have your CA/VA over CB/VB equals to NA over NB. Let me write it on the board so that we'll now write out what those parameters means. So we have CA/VA over CB/VB equals to NA over NB. So I'm going to spell it out here. VA, my CA is the concentration in mole per dm cube of the acid. VA is the volume of the acid, while the CB is the concentration of the acid in mole per dm cube. I have the concentration of the base in mole per dm cube. Then the VB is the volume of the base, Now the NA is what we call the number of moles of acid, while for the NB is number of moles of the base that is actually taking part in the reaction. This reaction is what we call the neutralization reaction. So now we'll go to our question. Okay, 20.30 cm cube of HCl solution was titrated against 25 cm cube of 0.01 mole per dm cube NaOH solution. Calculate the concentration of the acid in mole per dm cube, then calculate the concentration of the acid in grams per dm cube. So what we are expected to do here, the first thing we'll do here is to write a balanced chemical reaction between the two reactants. I have the acid and the base reacting together to form what? Salt and water. So I have my HCl plus NaOH. So we know how we usually balance our chemical reaction. So I will have NaCl plus, when you have hydrogen and OH, water will be formed. Okay, that's being done. Okay, so I'm going to write out my parameters. Okay, so I'll be using CAVA over CBVB equals to NA over NB. The first thing that they said we should look for is what? Concentration of the acid in mole per dm cube. So what's the concentration of the acid in mole per dm cube? So Ca is what we are actually looking for. So I'm going to write out what I have on the board. So 20.30 cm cube of the HCl. So that means here now my VA is 20.3 cm cube. Yes. My VB is 25 cm cube. Just follow me gently. My CB, yes, CB was given in the question. My CB is 0.1 mole per dm cube. Okay. Then what else do we need again? CA is what we're looking for. Then NA. NA is expected to be 1 because there is no number attached here, so it's 1. Then my NB is also what? 1. So I'm going to make CA the subject of the formula. So my CA is expected to be CA equals what? We'll cross multiply for this. CB VB NA divided by VA as your VA and NB. Okay, so we can now substitute the parameters. So CB, where's our CB is 0.1 multiplied by what? VB, volume of the base, is 25. NB is what? 1. VA is divided by 20.30 multiplied by 1. So in all, we are expected to have 0.1232. 0.1232 mole per dm cube. So the next one, so we are done with the first question. The next one, there is another formula that we are expected to use, which says concentration in mole per dm cube equals to concentration in grams per dm cube over molar mass. Okay, so I'm going to make concentration in grams per dm cube the subject of the formula, which will now be what? Concentration in grams per dm cube will be what? Concentration in mole per dm cube times the molar mass. So concentration in mole per dm cube times molar mass. I'll just write mm just to abbreviate. So what do we have? The first question here is what? The concentration in mole per dm cube is what? 0.123 multiplied by what? Now the molar mass of the HCl is what? HCl is expected to be what? 1 plus 3, 35.5 give me what? 36.5. So most times, these are some of the things that we have done in the past. So I expect us to know how to calculate the molar mass of HCl. So I have 36.5. So in all, I'm expected to have 4.50 grams per what? dm cube. So we are done with our questions. Then I would like to emphasize on this. This is what we do in our chemistry practical. This is our quantitative analysis, while the other one is qualitative analysis. And one thing about volumetric analysis question is this: if you miss question 1, automatically you miss question 2. Because if you notice what I've done here now, the answer I got for the first one, I eventually used it to solve the second one. So that means we need to be careful whenever we are calculating this so that we get the right answer, because whatever you do in number 1 is definitely going to affect whatever you